Hello students, Dr. Evertson here, just reporting to you from Shadron. I'm back from travels last week, um, and I just wanted to give an update that's going to talk about a few things, including the technical glitches with the course, a grading update. I want to talk to you about virtual office hours for tomorrow and the sort of approach we're going to be taking this week to our service projects, and a note about quizzes. So I'll try and keep this as brief as possible. I do want to say off the top that we have very spotty participation in the course up to this point, and I'm not sure why that is. I have had a couple people check in with me, and they've had some technical problems accessing the course materials, and I'm trying to sort those out. We're using this new template this summer from the college, which wants to try and have more consistency among all the online courses. So I'm trying to follow that format, but that means that in updating the information from previous semesters and summers, some of the times the links and other things are not coming off correctly, and the handout for the service project was really formatted poorly, and I didn't recognize that until a student had contacted me. So I've tried to keep up with all those things. Please email me, let me know when there are issues. If you have trouble accessing the material, let me know. But for the most part, I go into the course site as a student under student view, and I can usually see the material that's posted. So I believe we have access to the material, and I'm not sure why we have about half of our class. We have 8 students that are enrolled, and we have about half the class sort of consistently participating in the activities. And as I'm updating grades this week, I think you're going to see that there's going to be some real problems with people who are not completing the quizzes or the forum activities. So that's made me a little bit nervous about the prospects going forward. So if you're watching this video, you're probably already doing this work, but so maybe I'm talking to the wrong people. But I will try to stress again this week the need for everybody to participate a little bit more. And I will have a grading update this afternoon. This is Monday. And over the course of this week, I'll get all the grades updated, and I'll have either a video lesson for you all, or a set of notes that I will give you all in response to the work you've been doing. Because of the travel and the writing workshop, the last 2 weeks have been very crazy for me, so it's really been about all I can do to get the course posted and sort of monitor what you're doing. Having said that, I do want to point out that we are in Unit 2, and we are now Lesson 5 starting today on Monday, and we're really trying to move in this direction of coming out of this sort of exploration of service projects, issues like poverty, stuff we might take on in our communities, including elements that we were discussing about service and helping others, as through the book A Path Appears, which you are responding to for your Friday forums. Now we move towards actually committing to our own service projects in our own communities. So those of you who did post in response to the forum, the Friday forum last Friday, you were supposed to post by midnight 4 challenge questions on the first chunk of reading for this text. And I know it's a challenging bit of reading to go through that much for each of these Friday forums. It's a summer class. I don't have to repeat this over again, I hope. It's an accelerated version of the course, but just do your best. The people who have posted questions so far have done a nice job, and now your job is to respond to each other's ideas and post a response to the forum, and you have a lot of time to work on that until next Friday. But next Friday you will need to respond to the second chunk of reading, which is 167 to 229. And again, this is information that's sort of a broader global exploration of the idea of helping others and what we can do as a society to be more engaged in service, and addressing social issues. And so it's more sort of context and background for the course, appropriate for an FYI type course. Otherwise, we're working through our workbook, Learning Through Serving, and the exercises in this are really excellent. They take you sort of step by step through preparation, and then how to sort of really preparation for a sort of a service project, and then how will you actually put a specific service project together. What are some of the things you might consider? What is your attitude towards your very specific service project? what are some of the steps, and then it eventually will be getting into readings that will take you through what to do when there are problems. It's just a very hands-on, more practical. This is more the philosophy, this is more the practical day-to-day doing of the service projects. I can't stress this enough. You really need to start thinking about what you want to do this summer for your service project. That's the main portion of our course, obviously. So please follow the instructions in the book. Today, last week we had a reading quiz that most of you are, I'm hoping, turning in today, where you went over Chapter 2 in Learning to Serve. Again, kind of getting in this headspace for service learning. Today you're going to be doing some self-inventories and other things more about you in Chapter 3. So there's a quiz for today that's just 3 questions long, but it asks you to go through some of these exercises in the book and post them in the quiz area. And then on Thursday, you're going to have another quiz on Chapter 4, which will take you again incrementally more specifically towards your service projects. So that's the goal there. I know the quizzes can be a little bit challenging, but you have all this time. The quizzes aren't really timed, and you can repeat them as many times as you want. It's just a way to facilitate your sort of committing to the reading and showing me that you've gone through the chapter. It's the sort of thing that we would do in class, maybe as quizzes in class or in class discussion, but because we're all working on our own in this online course, I really need to be able to see that you have addressed the issues in the quiz and that you're responding to them fully. And so it's a much more sort of hands-on, individual, solo project for you in the summer course. When you come back from the quiz, there will be grades that I will give and short comments and model answers, and I can get a good sense of what the class is doing in response to the reading. So it's very important. So I appreciate your continuing effort, those of you who are participating in the quiz. So I'm going to go into our actual lesson for today, and so I go into units and lessons, and we're in Unit 2. And I already have keyed up Lesson 5, which I'm putting together, putting the finishing touches on right now with this video. And what you'll see is that I just have an overview that's really stressing this idea of how we're moving from sort of orientation towards service to actually committing to our service projects this week. You have an actual proposal, draft proposal that's due 1 week from today on Monday. So you need to have an idea of your service project really lined up this week and be prepared to do a formal proposal on Monday, which will be approved or not approved a week from today. So everything we're doing this week is trying to get you into that place where you can successfully submit a proposal. So that's really what this information in the lesson notes is about, what I would stress as far as going forward. The other thing that you will be doing is you will be doing a forum today, and this is very important. You will be workshopping your potential service projects. You don't have to commit to them at this point, but this is where you workshop and get feedback, and then I can see what everybody's sort of thinking about and add my own sort of comments on the responses to the forum. But in order to facilitate that, this is one of those rare assignments that you have to have completed sooner rather than later. So I need to have everybody submit for workshop their potential project ideas to the forum as soon as possible, but no later than Wednesday. And our next lesson starts on Thursday. But on Wednesday, I want to make sure you've completed the workshop. Hopefully everybody will have something submitted well before Wednesday, but that's the absolute deadline, so that everybody, prior to our meeting again on Thursday, can then give feedback. That's how a workshop is. You post your ideas, your writing, and then you get feedback from your classmates. So that is sort of one of the few times when we have to have an earlier due date. So everybody, please pay attention to that. So I wanted to stress that. The other thing I wanted to stress was in facilitation of these sort of service projects and your brainstorming ideas, which is something we might do in class with an in-class discussion. I'm going to try, we did this a little bit last summer, I'm going to try and utilize the meeting tool that is in our course and have a virtual meeting on Tuesday, tomorrow, starting at noon to 1 p.m., so that if anybody wants to chat with me live, and we can have an actual discussion about your projects. And everybody else in the class who logs in will be able to hear our conversations as well. It's a way of sort of replicating that sort of classroom moment. So the way that you access the meeting is through the meeting tool on the left of the course. There will be other announcements going out about this, but as students right now, the only thing you should probably see is the open meeting. Tomorrow you will see the virtual office hours, Tuesday 6/18 from noon to 1 p.m. Mountain Time. And but if you go into the open meeting, you can sort of play around with the tool, and you just basically go in here and you go. So you see, you click on the open meeting here, and what you should see is that you can join the meeting. There's not necessarily anybody in here right now, but you can join the meeting and practice, and basically see if it loads up here. There's, depending on your computer interface, you have to, enable the flash. It's a little slow because I've got the recording of my screencast going on right now. But it will open this meeting tool, and then it will take you through a set of prompts for how to hook up your audio, how to key in the video, and all that sort of stuff. And if you practice and play around with this, once you get used to using it, it's quite easy to use. But it gives us an opportunity to, video conference and that sort of stuff. So I had to switch to a different browser to get it to open, and so this shows you how you got to play around with this a little bit. But it'll take you through a set of prompts. If you want to use the microphone, you have to set up all these parameters first, and then it'll do a audio test, and then you have we probably have many sort of layers of video going on here. You have to enable your camera at some point, share your webcam. Depending on your computer, you might have to allow the Flash Adobe. But anyway, that's how this works. And I would recommend going into the practice meeting place and trying it out. And then maybe we can get to a place where we can do some virtual meetings. Okay. So that's basically it. I may have lost my video at this point, and so I'll just close out this video lesson by saying that I will post a second video in today's lesson that will talk a little bit about the projects and some samples from previous semesters. So stay tuned for that.